Today I'm going to show you how to make this little bracelet that I am calling trio tiles. That's what I'm going to call them. Trios and tiles, something like that. I'll make the final decision on that and put it on the title of the video. But anyway, this is made, let me take it off so you can see it. This is made with the new round trio beads. These round trio beads, zoom in so you can see, have, just like in the name, 3 holes in the bead. We did some round duo stuff not too long ago. Now we're going to do round trio. Potomac Bead Company has these exclusively in their inventory, so I will put a link for potomacbeads.com and you can go check them out. They sent me several to design with, and they come in lots of different colors. They're very nice to work with. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So make sure that you go to potomacbeads.com and get yourself some of the new beads, because I'm sure there will be a lot of videos coming out real soon as everyone starts to play with these new ones. So go do that. Check it out. I'm also going to use the Potomac Beads new crystal, their rondelles. It's a 3x4 rondelle. And they also have rivolis and new really pretty crystal buttons, which I will use in one of my future videos real soon and let you see what those look like. I'm also using the tile, the check tile bead with the 2 holes in it from Potomac Bead Company today too. Those aren't as new, but they nevertheless are available there so that you can find the beads that you need for this project. Anyway, let's look and see what we need for this project. Let's go over what we're going to need for this project today. And for this project, you will need about 24 of the round trio beads. Now, this is white Lila or Lila Luster. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but that's what this color is. And 1 package is more than enough for this bracelet. Then I'm going to use 11 seed beads and 15 seed beads. I'm using a cream Toho for my 11 and I'm using a galvanized silver tone for my 15. You will then need some rondelles. These are 3x4 millimeter, and these are the Potomac Company rondelles. More than enough come in 1 tube. You're going to need about 80 of them. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending upon the length of your bracelet. But 1 tube is more than enough. They come in a little tube like this. And then you're going to need a check tile. These are the little tiles with 2 holes in them. And these are also available at the Potomac Bead Company. And the one I'm using is Alabaster Champagne. You will also need a toggle clasp of your choosing and 2 wire protectors. You will also need a size 10 beading needle and several yards of 8-pound fire line. Go ahead and thread onto your needle at least 2 full wingspans of fire line, and let's get started. Okay, after you have threaded your needle with 2 full wingspans, we will start to pick up our beads. Now, I'm not going to use 2 full wingspans just because it's difficult to pull through on camera or to have you watch me do that, and it just takes forever. But I do have a good full wingspan on. And we're going to start by picking up 2 11 seed beads, and then we're going to start with our round trios. Now, you can pick up on either one of the outside holes here, this one or this one, doesn't matter, just don't go into the center. And pick up 2 more and another round trio on the outside hole, either one, 2 more 11s, round trio, and then 2 more 11s, and a round trio. And this is what you should have. 2 11s around trio, 2 11s around trio, 2 11s around trio, 2 11s around trio. Now, they look like they're going all weird directions, but as I do this, they will straighten up. Pull them down to the end of your thread Leave yourself a fairly long tail. I'm not going to do that because it's going to get in my way, but you will be using this tail to put your clasp on. So leave yourself 12 to 16 inches to do so. Now I'm going to bring my beads around in a circle, and from the tail side I'm going to sew back up through all of my beads, staying in the same hole of the round trios. You don't want to go into one of the other holes. This is going to straighten your round trios up and make it more obvious what holes you're in here. And it's also going to make it sturdier and a good base firmness for us, of course. So all the way back around all of the beads until you come to your tail here. And then you want to tie a knot with your tail and your working thread, making sure they go down between the beads. Now, with your tail, I'll show you what I'm going to do. We just want to get it out of our way. So it's firm enough, this 8-pound fire line is firm enough and the hole's big enough in here that the bead that you're closest to, that you're right next to, you're going to come up into the second hole like this. Just push it through and then turn it over and go into the third hole on the round trio. And this is just positioning your thread, your tail, so it's in the right position for you to add your clasp on at the end here. So that's where you want that. Then we're going to go back to our working thread here. And we're right here. We're going to come through the bottom of this in the same holes we've been working in the round trio. Right there. Now, whoops, that's the middle hole. That's one thing you have to be careful with, is these holes are really close together. So make sure that you stay in the right hole you're supposed to be in. I want to stay in the hole that we started in, so it's the bottom hole, or what I'm referring to as the bottom hole. Now this is what I have. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my tile in the middle. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a check tile, and it doesn't matter which side of the check tile you go into. Just pick it up, and then another 15-0 like this. Now you're coming out of this little bottom hole of the round trio. We're going to go into the opposite bead, and we're going to go into the same hole we've been working in this opposite round trio right here. And we're going to pull this tile down into the center of our little diamond shape we have here, or square, however you want to look at it, like this. Make sure there's no slack. You want this to pull down tight and nice. Then we're going to secure the other side. So we're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead. We're going to go into this side of the tile here and pull the 15-0 seed bead down like this. Whoops. And pull your work across the room. Anyway, there we are. So we have our little 15-0 there. Let's grab another 15-0 and secure this side of the tile by going through the same bottom hole of the round trio again, right here. And pull the 15-0 down into place like this. Make sure it's very secure, just like that. Now we are going to start with our embellishments. This bracelet, we're going to do the embellishments on each unit as we make the unit. So we don't have to come back. We're not going to make a base and then come back. Everything's going to be embellished. Every unit's going to be finished, and then we will attach the units together, and it'll be one cohesive movement through the bracelet instead of doing one step and then coming back and doing another step and then coming back and doing another step to embellish everything. So now we're coming out of this bottom one here. We're going to hop up into the second hole in the round trio, right here. Just move your tail out of the way and pick up now a 15-0 a rondelle, and a 15-0. Just like this. And then you're coming out of the second hole here. You're going to go into the next second hole in the next bead right here. So the middle hole. Just like that. And we're going to do that all the way around the entire piece. So pick up a 15-0, a rondelle, and a 15-0, and then go from the second hole all the way to the next second hole. And again, 15-0, rondelle, 15-0, into the next round trio in the second or middle hole. And one more time to finish out the entire unit with this embellishment. So I'm coming out of the second hole, I'm going to go into the second hole again. And on the other side here, make sure that you don't grab the 15-0. Just come through just the round trio. Move your tail out of the way. You're coming out of the second hole in this round trio here. You're going to go up into the top hole. And we're going to do our next layer of embellishments. So we're going to pick up a rondelle, however you say it, 2 11-0 seed beads this time, and then another rondelle. We're coming out of this top hole in this round trio. We're going to go to the next round trio in the top hole and pull our beads down, just like that. Make sure that they snap into place. They're just kind of no slack. They lay there very nicely. And then pick up a rondelle, 2 11-0s, and a rondelle. This, go from this top hole to this top hole in the next round trio and pull the rondelles over the top of the rondelle in the last step. Turn your piece, pick up a rondelle, 2 11-0 seed beads, and a rondelle. And then again go into the next round trio in the top hole. Get my tail in there. There we go. And then we will do the same in our very last open slot here. So we're going to pick up 1 rondelle, 2 11-0s, and a rondelle. And we're going to go from this top hole to this top hole, making sure that as you go through the round trio, you don't pick up anything on the other side. Now, we're going to come up through, we're coming out of this little round trio, we're going to start our next layer of embellishments. So we're going to pick up or go through the rondelle, and then we're going to pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. And we're going to leave this bead right here open. We're not going to put any embellishments on it as we work our way around, because this bead is the bead that my tail is coming out of. The bead that our tail is coming out of, we're not going to embellish because we're going to put our clasp there. So we will pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. We're coming out of this rondelle. We're now going to go into the next rondelle, right across from it. And pull the 5 little beads down. Now with this, you kind of have to arrange it as you do it so that they come out really pretty. You don't want a bunch of slack. You don't want them too tight where they bunch. You want them to lay just nice and neat. Then we're going to pick up 6 of our 15-0 seed beads, like this. I'm going to go from this rondelle to this rondelle and pull my 15-0s over the top of it, just like that. Now we're going to pick up 5 more of our 15 O's. Coming out of this rondelle, we're going to go into this rondelle. And also, as we go through this rondelle, we are just going to go into the top hole of the round trio, and just that. Don't get any beads on the other side, just like this. So go through the rondelle and the round trio and exit the round trio, just like this. Right here is where we're going to start our connection for our next unit, and then we'll finish out our embellishments on the first one. This we're just going to keep working through, preparing our way for our next unit, and then embellishing, and then working our way back down, making our next unit. So what we're going to do now that we're at the bottom rondelle, and we know because our tail is on this side, we are going to start a connection for our next unit of beads. How we're going to do this is we're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a tile bead, a 15-0 seed bead, and a round trio on an outside hole. It doesn't matter which one. Just make sure it's the outside hole. So it's like this. Then we're going to drop these down to our piece of work, just like this. Then we're going to pick up a 15-0, and we're going to come through the other side of the tile right here. And we're going to pull that through. And just lift everything up tight to your piece of work. Make sure that there's no slack. You're going to see a little thread on either side of the round trio. That's okay. We're going to cover that up as we make our next unit. But you don't want to see a lot, and you don't want it to be wobbly. So pick up another 15-0. We're coming out of the tile here. We're going to anchor this side to the round trio right here. So just go through the round trio like this and pull. Now you can see that my piece is nice and firm and there's no slack. Now I'm going to move into this rondelle right here. I'm coming out of the top hole of the round trio. I'm going to go into the rondelle, just like this. And I'm going to pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm coming from this rondelle. I'm going to go into this one. Then we're going to pick up 6. Coming out of this rondelle here. So pick up 6 of your 15-0 seed beads. Like this. And go from this rondelle to this rondelle, and just the rondelle, exit. Then we're going to pick up 5. 1, 2, 15-0s like this. And we're going to go from this rondelle to this rondelle. And we're going to go through the top hole of the round trio. We're going to skip the round trio on this particular unit because it's our first one, and like I said, we'll use our tail to put our clasp on this one. So we're just going to skip it, and what we're going to do now is sew back down to this end. So we're going to come up through the rondelle and the 15-0s, and we're just make sure as you sew around you don't miss any of the beads because it'll pull them into a funny little well, they won't lay right. So try to get all your beads as you sew around. We're just going to sew around the outside layer that we just added all the way down to our tile bead. So just sew through all the 15-0s here, through the rondelle. I'll pick up as many as I can as I move along. Here. Then I'm going to sew through here. Try not to pull all your stuff out of shape, so do it as carefully as you can so that your little unit doesn't get all weird. Get back through this 15-0. I don't know if I can. There we go. And the rondelle here. then I'm going to sew up through these 15 O's. And this project will bend up your needle, just know that. Okay. Now I'm coming out of this rondelle. I'm going to go into the round trio in the top hole. And then I'm going to go up into this 15-0 right here and the tile bead and the 15-0 on the top of it if I can get it. There we go. Just like this. And pull through. Then I'm going to come into the bottom hole of the round trio like this. Then I'm going to sew. You can see my next hole. I'm going to go into the next hole. Then I'm going to go into the inside hole, the top hole here, so that I can start my next unit. Let's back off just a little. Now I have one unit. I will also make a connection from this unit to this unit. But at this point I'm going to go ahead and start my first unit, or my second unit, and then I'll come back and make a little connection from the two. So what we're going to do is we have one of our round trios, we need 4, so we're going to pick up 3, and we're going to put 2 11-0 seed beads between each one. So I'm going to pick up 2 11-0s, a round trio, and an outside hole. 2 11-0s, another round trio. All of these will be in the outside hole. 2 11-0s, and it doesn't matter which outside hole. And then 2 more 11-0s. So this is what I have on my needle here. I'm coming out of this side of my round trio in the last hole here. I'm going to go into the same hole on the other side, just like this. And I'm going to pull them down. And now I'm going to sew around this entire unit. And this will secure my unit, make it ready for all of my embellishments. Oops, stabbed myself. Okay. Into here, and then back through the connecting round trio in the same hole. Now, I'm going to add my tile. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead and a tile, and a 15-0 seed bead. I'm coming out here. I'm going to go into the same hole on the opposite round trio in the same hole, just like this. And pull. Okay, quit arguing with me, you. And pull this down and tighten it. Now I'm going to pick up a 15-0 coming out of this hole here. I'm going to go into the tile, and I'm going to pull this 15-0 down, and then I'm going to pick up another 15-0. I'm going to go into the bottom hole of the round trio and pull the 15-0 into place and the tile into place nice and firmly like this. Now I am coming out of this hole, the last one on the round trio. I'm going to go into the middle hole, just like that. And I'm going to start my first layer of embellishments through this hole. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0, a rondelle, and a 15-0. And then I'm going to go from middle hole here to middle hole here, just like that. Pull them tight, and then do the same embellishment, 15-0, rondelle, 15-0, into the next middle hole of the next round trio. And turn it. And again, 15-0, rondelle, 15-0, into the middle hole of the next round trio. And again, 15-0, rondelle, 15-0, and into the middle hole. And just the round trio. Don't pick up any of the beads on the other side. Okay, and then come up through your round trio in the top hole. Here is where we will make a little connection, a little decorative connection to firm up this little connection between our units. So we have kind of a naked little tile hanging here. We're going to just do a little connection between this round trio and this round trio to firm this up a little bit. So we're coming out of the top hole of the round trio. We're going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads, an 11-0 seed bead, then a rondelle, and then an 11-0, excuse me, and then 3 15-0 seed beads like this. And this is what you should have on your needle, just like that. Now, we're coming out of this rondelle in the top hole here. We're going to go into, not rondelle, but round trio. We're going to go into the top hole of this round trio. Move everything out of your way, just kind of push it down, and just come through this last hole in this round trio and pull the strand down like this. So we're coming out of the most outside hole of the round trio here after putting our little strand down. Now we are going to go from this round trio to this round trio in the very outside hole of the round trio. Just like this. We've picked up 3 15-0s, an 11-0, a rondelle, 11-0, and 3 15-0s. And we're just going to pull that strand directly down, just like that. And that's what that should look like. Now you are coming out of the round trio in the top hole here, and we're going to do our last top hole embellishment around our unit. So that embellishment is a rondelle and 2 11-0 seed beads and a rondelle. We're going to come out of this round trio and go directly into the top hole of the other round trio and pull these beads over the rondelle embellishment we just did, just like that. Now we're in the top hole of this round trio. We're going to pick up a rondelle and 2 11-0 seed beads and a rondelle. And we're going to go from this top hole to this top hole and pull our embellishment over the top of the last embellishment. And again, a rondelle, 2 11-0s, and a rondelle. And we're going to go from this top hole to this top hole. Then we're going to pick up a rondelle, 2 11-0s, and a rondelle. And then we're going to go from this top hole into this top hole. Just make sure you don't pick up any beads on either side of it. And pull your embellishment down. Now, you want your little strand things to go over the top of those, so kind of put them behind it. And then we are now going to start our next row of embellishments. So we're coming out of this rondelle or this round trio. Come into the rondelle and pick up your 5 15-0 seed beads and come from this rondelle to this one. And then 6 of your 15-0 seed beads. And come from this rondelle to this one. And then pick up 5 11-0 seed beads. And from this rondelle to this one. And also through the round trio, because we're on the bottom of the unit, we need to add connection for our next unit. So we're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a tile bead, a 15-0 seed bead, and a round trio in an outside hole, just like this. I'm going to put this down, I'm going to drop these down to my work, and then I'm going to pick up a 15-0 and I'm going to anchor this round trio to this tile. So I'm going to come through the tile, hold on to it, and pull the round trio and the 15-0 and everything up really tight, just like that. Then I'm going to pick up another 15-0 and I'm going to come through the bottom hole or the most outside hole in the round trio, just like this, and pull that nice and stiff where there's no slack between the 15-0s, the tiles, or the round trio. Then come up through your rondelle so that you can finish your embellishments on this unit. Come through here and then pick up 5 of your 15-0 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then go in from rondelle to rondelle, pull it down, pick up 6 of your 15-0 seed beads, and go from rondelle to rondelle, and then, oops, don't go through this 11-0 here, I'm going to back out of it, like that, and then I'm going to pick up 5 and I'm going to go from this rondelle to this rondelle and into, I want to get past that little strand of beads we just added and into the round trio on the top here, just like this. So now I have 2 units. I'm going to go through this rondelle here and I'm going to sew all the way down until I can get to add my next unit. And it becomes very repetitive from here. The thing that you have to remember is to add your little strands. As you sew around, you'll see that there is an order in which you can put everything on and have each unit complete before you start the next unit. Just follow the video a couple of times and then you should be able to do each unit and each embellishment all the way around until you have 6 units. Now, let's keep sewing till we get down here. We're going to come through this rondelle here. We're going to come through this ronduo here. Then we're going to go down into this 15-0, this tile bead, and into the round trio on the top hole, through the middle hole, then through the bottom hole, and then we're going to start our next unit by picking up our 2 11-0s and our round trios until we have 3 round trios with 2 11-0s on either side and in between. And then you'll make your next unit and start the entire process again. And we're going to make 6 units like this. If you need to watch the video again on how to work through them, go ahead and do that. That will be helpful. Now, when you get to your very last unit, don't add your tile. Just sew through until your last unit looks like this last unit on your 6th unit. You just want a naked little bead on this side, and I will show you when I get there. So go ahead and make 6 units with your connection in between. And we'll okay, so I have made my 6 units. Now, if you have a very small wrist, you may only need 5 units. But for my wrist, I'm going to go ahead and make this 6 units. And let me show you where I'm at now. I've made my entire unit. I've put my little connection little strands over the top of the connection here. And then I went with my last embellishment doing my 5 and then my 6 and then my 5 15-0 seed beads. I came through the rondelle and then through the top hole of the round trio. Now, like I told you to leave it naked, that's because on this end we've got the thread coming out of this one and it's naked too. That way they'll both match and you can add your clasp the same way I'm just about to show you how to add this clasp. So what we're going to do now, we're coming out of the round trio up here, we're going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads and an 11-0 seed bead. We are then going to hook our clasp, one end of our clasp, onto a wire protector here. Just run the wire protector through like that. Straighten it out. And then bring your needle up through one end of the wire protector and the clasp. Squeeze tight so you can guide the thread down. And then come through the other end of the wire protector. I know my fingers are in the way, but there's really no other way to do this. Then I'm going to bring it down like this. And the reason I'm doing it this way instead of a jump ring is because a jump ring is always the weakest point. It's always the problem, it opens, so I'm just going to eliminate it. Then I'm going to, after I come through my clasping, I'm going to, or through my wire guardian, I'm going to come back through the 11-0 seed bead, like this. I'm going to take a pair of chain nose pliers and I'm just going to very gently squeeze my wire guardian just a little bit closed so that things aren't going to be all weird looking here like this. So it will lay on my 11-0 a little better. Okay, let me see if I can show you what I've got. There we go. Now that I've come through my wire guardian and my 11-0, I'm going to pick up 3 more 15-0s. And I'm going to come through this top hole again of the round trio and pull this down. And you can rearrange it once you sew back through. You're going to have to sew back through this entire thing several times, at least 3, and then you can close your little wire guardian better and have a nice connection there. Go ahead and sew through that several times and we'll be back. So once you have secured your clasping, you've sewn up through the wire guardian and the 15-0 several times and made sure that this is going to be nice and secure, then you will come out of the rondelle and you'll finish this side of your embellishments. So I actually did not finish this entire unit. I did my entire routine of putting these on and then coming back around to do my last row of 15-0 embellishments. Then I put on my clasp and then I'll be coming out of my little bead on the top here, come through the rondelle, and I will finish my embellishments on my last unit. I will pick up 5 15-0 seed beads and then come through the rondelle here. And then again, you will pick up 15-0 seed beads, but you'll pick up 6 of them. So pick up 6. And then come through rondelle to rondelle again. And then we have our last little corner embellishment, so we'll pick up 5. Like this. And we'll just go into this rondelle under here. It can be a little tricky. You find it. There we go. And then I'm going to try to slide up through the, I'm up through the last hole in the round trio, and I'm going to pull through. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew around a little bit and tie half-hitch knots, and then I'll clip it off, and then we will put our needle on our tail on this side and do the exact same thing through this bead. except for, of course, you won't need to finish your embellishments on the other side because they're finished. So you can just sew through and tie off. And we'll be back to show you the finished. So I went ahead and finished my clasping on my other side here. And then I just went through and sewed through and tied off and cut my thread off. And this is what it looks like. Now, this turned out to be about a 7.5-inch bracelet. It's going to depend on the size of your clasping, how big that it ends up if you use 6 units. Of course, you can make it smaller and adjust it by using smaller clasps, doing 1 less unit. That's all totally adjustable. So if you have a very small wrist, then of course make a less unit or a smaller clasping. Or if you have a big wrist, then make another unit or use a bigger clasp. This is what it looks like on. This is what it looks like. Here's my clasping. And that's what it looks like. It's really quite pretty, I think. And I hope you enjoyed it. And go get you some of these new beads. They're really a lot of fun. You can do a lot of things. I can see a lot of dangly stuff going on with the round trio. You could do all kinds of looping and things through them. And I will probably do a video on something like that because I have several things in my head just wanting to get out. But anyway, this is my first project with the round trios, and I really enjoyed it. And you can get your round trios and your tile beads and these pretty little crystal rondelles at PotomacBeads.com. See ya.